Assalamu alaikum. I'm called Talha. Hope you're doing all right. Um, Welcome to my first video. If you're watching this, then obviously you're one of the very rare people who are watching this video. One of the very few people who not rare, but few people who are watching this video. Very like a special thank you for you. My first YouTube video. Who am I? I'm basically a Pakistani who loves to watch football, who loves football, who loves to watch football, play football, who loves talking about football, listening to people talk about football, fans and pundits and friends and stuff like that. So in this video I'm going to talk about football. I'm going to talk about the arguably the biggest league, the best football league in the world, the Premier League. So as you guys know, this season of the Premier League, it's bizarre. Not just because of this table, but also because of the scheduling and stuff like that. It's the second most bizarre season in history as far as the scheduling is concerned, because obviously the previous season was the most bizarre. I don't think we can argue about that. I mean, a 3-month break, 3 months without watching football. It was hard. Imagine doing that again. It was hard. It was really hard for fans, and even I think the players might miss playing the game. And obviously, I mean, a 3-month game, a 3 month break between a Premier League season, between a season. It's weird. It's the most bizarre season as far as scheduling is concerned ever. This is the second most bizarre season because obviously we had 5 weeks less to work with this time. We have 5 weeks less, and I don't remember a midweek, except for the international breaks, where there wasn't a game. I don't remember such a midweek. There was always a game, either a Prem game or a game from like another league or something. In English football, there just was a game, either a European game in midweek, or a Prem game in midweek, or an EFL Cup game in midweek. There was football in midweek ever since the season has started this time out. So it is bizarre. But another really bizarre thing about this season is the table. I mean, just look at that table. Look at the point tallies after 16 games. 33, 30, 29, 29, 26, 26, 26, 26, 26, 23, 21, 20, 19, 19, 16, and then it gets a bit, the gap gets, the biggest gap is between 19th and 20th. That's the biggest gap. Look at Man City and Liverpool. Man City are 8th in the table, and people still think that Man City are the biggest threat to Liverpool for the title this season. That's how bizarre this season is. They do have a 7-point gap, but just winning 2 games will make them 1 point behind Liverpool. So that's how bizarre this season is going. Southampton, they looked really good. They were, I think, top for a day this season. Everton were top before the first international leg. Obviously, they dropped, and then now they're back. They had 4 wins out of 4 in the first 4 games. They signed James Rodriguez, which is a real boost. He's been injured for the past few weeks. He is fit for today's game against West Ham. I think the game might have kicked off. It's 10:32 in Pakistan time. The game was to kick off at 10:30. So let's check the lineup for that game. Everton, West Ham. Yeah, the game has started. Lineups. Just look at that team, man. Pickford, Coleman, Mina, Holgate, Godfrey, Decore, Davies, Bernard Sigurdsson, Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin. That is, I mean, that is after missing key players like James Rodriguez. Is he on the bench? He is on the bench. I didn't see the lineup before. I knew he was on the bench. And they've got people like Gomez on the bench, like Rodriguez on the bench, and this is their lineup. This is a very, very strong team. They're missing players. The Allen is missing. Iwobi is missing. At their best, without injuries, Everton's lineup is pretty much a top four quality lineup. I remember the lineup against Liverpool in the Merseyside derby. I was looking at it. I was like, this is genuinely a top four quality lineup. This it was a similar kind of lineup Arsene Wenger used for 5 years or something to come in with the top four. And Everton have a similar quality lineup. They can easily finish in top four. I won't be surprised. I'll be a bit pleased to see Everton in the top four, because obviously, who doesn't want a new team in the mix? Leicester might get in the mix this time. They've got in the mix. They came fifth last season. They won the Premier League in 2016. Who can forget that? And Leicester and Everton are really two teams I really like, just because they're not considered threats, but they have enough quality to kick in and just get into the mix a little bit, beat the big teams and challenge for top four, challenge something like that. At the start of the season, I heard people saying that Everton were going to win the league. Oh, and Everton going to win the league. So it's amazing to see teams like Everton and Leicester, really hard-working units. And Everton, by the way, are one of the big boys of English football. They dominated English football in the 80s and prior. So they're one of the big boys. Leicester aren't. Leicester won their first league title in 2016, and we don't know when they'll win their next title. But look at them; they are kicking on. They are challenging, and it's really. Welcome back. My screen recording stopped for some reasons. Well, I'm using my mobile phone screen recorder, by the way. I'm sure that you guys must have noticed it, but I'm using my mobile phone screen recorder for this one. So I was talking about these two teams, the teams in third and fourth, Everton and Leicester City. So one of the things I really want to say about these two is that this season is obviously a hectic calendar. The big teams have a lot of problems with fatigue and stuff like that. It's evident that the best team in the league, the team that that only dropped, I think, 7 points. They only dropped 5 points before the lockdown last season, Liverpool. They've dropped 12 plus 3, 15 points after 16 games. They've only got 33 points after 16 games at the top of the table. They had only dropped 2 at this stage, I guess. It was against Man United away at Old Trafford. So this season, I think the Premier League winning team will be in... Their points total will be somewhere in the early 80s. The higher 70s, like 78, 79, something like that. It won't be those crazy seasons where, like, with that 18-19 season where Liverpool won, they got 97 points and still didn't win the Premier League. City won it with 98 points. This will be a low-scoring season as far as the points are concerned. Hence, I really think this is once in a long, long time opportunity for Everton and Leicester, the underdog clubs, especially Leicester. They have only one league title in their history. Everton was still one of the big boys back in the day. For these two less fancy teams, or like lesser favorite teams, they might do the unthinkable. They might win the league. Leicester have done it before in normal circumstances with fans coming and no COVID, stuff like that. They can do it again. Our big teams are dropping off, fatigue and stuff like that. They have a lot of problems. Liverpool have injury problems, and along with the schedule, they've got what is it? They've got a lot of injuries, obviously. The most notable being Van Dijk and Gomez, 2 centre backs out for the whole season. Matip has his issues, hence sometimes they got to play Nathaniel Phillips at centre back. Sometimes they got to play Rhys Williams at the centre back position. It is a crazy season. The scheduling and even the table, such small little gaps between places, the small little point gaps, like 3 points, no point, 1 point, no point, no point, no point, no point, no point, 2 points, 1 point. That's the gap between Premier League places. This might be the year where Everton become a big boy again and get back into the mix, get into the Premier League race again. This might be their year to do something unthinkable. This might be Leicester's year to do the unthinkable again, or at least to get into the title race. Leicester did, to be fair, get into the title race last season, but they were really far behind Liverpool, so it didn't really make sense for them to win the Premier League back then. They might get into the race this time, so it's a really enjoyable season. I really hope it doesn't get cut off due to COVID-19 and stuff like that. The situation in England is worsening. I think the entire country is in Tier 3, Tier 4. All the Premier League clubs are. There are no fans allowed anymore because every city that has a Premier League club is in Tier 3. It would be a shame if such a beautiful looking Premier League table doesn't get completed and the season gets called off. It would be a real shame. It's really enjoyable. It's going to be a very, very enjoyable season. A season to remember with, what is it, like a 8-horse race, 6-horse race, whatever. Aston Villa might drop off later on. Tottenham might drop off Southampton. But one thing's for sure, Leicester, they had a phenomenal last season. They had a phenomenal 15-16 season. We all remember that. Everton have James Rodriguez. More importantly, they've got Carlo Ancelotti. They've got Richarlison. Richarlison is phenomenal. Allen, Allan, Allen, whatever. He is a really massively underrated player. Many people consider him the best player in the Everton squad right now, and massively underrated. Everton, Leicester, these teams might make this crazy season even more crazy, make it crazier. It's going to be an enjoyable season, an enjoyable ride. I love this. I'd hate to see it cut off. It obviously health matters, but it would be a shame if this gets cut off. So I'd like you to enjoy this Premier League season, and I'll enjoy this season as well. Let's hope it gets completed. Goodbye.